Okay, I'm trying something different. See if we can't sit around the campfire with Grammie. I've got it built. It's kind of cool out here this evening, so maybe my fire will keep me warm. Hope y'all can hear me. Looks like it's going to go pretty good. I think I've said before in some of my other videos that I like to build fires and come out here and sit around the fire pit. And I've been talking about expressing my views, not just showing you the views of the beautiful mountains, but expressing some of my views. Been doing a lot of thinking today. I'm still working on my Christmas decorations, decorating my tree. Just had to give that a break for a while. I've been thinking about how I live in such a conservative area. I mean, it's mostly a red county, and I'm Democrat, and I'm liberal. Around here, I think the word liberal is like a dirty word, but I'd like to say to anybody that thinks that to look it up or ask Google to give you the definition of liberal. I'm proud to be a liberal. I also live in an area where most people are Southern Baptist. That's fine. This is a free country. But I was raised Catholic. I'm not a practicing Catholic. That means I don't go to church regularly. But through a lot of my life, I did. And I still feel like my basic principles are Catholic. And for those of you that don't understand, we're Christians too. And with all this political division that's going on throughout our country, I just wanted to express some of my views. And I think one of them is I can remember all through my formative years going to school. You know, I knew I was different, didn't know exactly why, but I knew I was. And I can remember hearing this phrase a lot when I would say something or somebody would say something and I'd comment and they'd look at me and say, "It's a free country, ain't it?" Oh, yes, it's a free country. And it still is a free country. But it's not going to be free if we don't fight for our democracy, to be united. We don't need to be like North Korea with a dictator, where we all stand in uniform and clap like this and have pictures of our dictator hanging in our house. We need to be a free country. I believe that with all my heart. Fire's feeling good. It's kind of getting warm now. Like I say, I hope y'all can hear me. Another thing I'd like to comment on is WWJD. Oh, a few years ago, everybody had the bracelets and the bumper stickers and whatever, saying, what would Jesus do? Which is a good phrase. But anymore, it's not like that. A lot of people are doing WWTD. What would Trump do? Well, I'm sorry. I don't agree with all the hatred he spews out and the name calling he spews out and the lying he does. I can remember when Hillary was running against him, and people would say, well, she's a liar. She's a liar. Well, I think most of us have lied a few times in our life, but some of us make a living at lying. And I still think we need to live by WWJD. I want to help keep this country free, where people can worship as they please. It may not be the same as you. They may not interpret the Bible the same as you. But as long as they're good people and trying to love other people and do good in this country, it doesn't matter what church they go to or if they even go to a church. If they're good people, we should WWJD. Things can't, at times I feel like in rural areas, because I live in one, everybody seems to think this is paradise. This is the place to be. This is where all the good people are in rural areas. And there's rural areas all over the United States. And my question to that is, if it is paradise, if it is the best place, if it is maybe WWJD would think this was the best place to live, if that's the case, then why is everyone so unhappy? Why is everyone so hell-bent on destroying our freedoms and not helping other people that might be living in countries that have dictatorships and have people that rule over them and evil people who kill children and women and destroy churches and hospitals, and for religious reasons a lot of times. I know maybe I sound too simple, it's not that simple, it's more complicated. Oh, I know that. It definitely is more complicated. But another thing that kind of bothers me, I have lived other places and I have um, been around a lot of different people of different face and different colors and worked with them in different places. I've had jobs, a lot of different jobs, and worked with a lot of people, younger people, older people, men, women. And that's a good thing. I've exposed myself to to lots of differences. And we have to be accepting of differences. And we have to learn to love people that are different than ourselves. I always go back to the phrase about being stagnant. If you don't progress, then you're stagnant. If the water's not flowing, then it's stagnant. I don't like being stagnant. I like progressing and moving forward. And this country has worked very hard to progress and move forward. And we need to do that. We can't be stuck in the past. We live in 2023, and we have to live in these times. You don't have to let go of your faith in God. You can hang on to that and live a good life. And especially all of us that live in rural areas where we think this is the best, then be happy. Love it. And love your neighbors. And love other people that are different than you. They weren't born in a rural area. Some of them were born right in the middle of New York City. Or some of them were born in some country that had dictatorship and oppression and were held down. Like I said, North Korea. We don't want to be like North Korea. Why should we ever think that their leader, Kim Jong-un, or however you pronounce his name, is a good leader? His half of his or more, or nearly all of his people are starving. But yet they all stand in uniform, and when he passes by, they all clap together. That's dictatorship. And they know nothing else because they've never been allowed to communicate with other people. That's all they know. The people don't know any different. If you don't know any different, then you just follow it. You've got to learn. We've all got to look past our own little areas and know that there are good people everywhere, everywhere, trying to be free like we are here in the United States. Let's not tear that apart. It's took years to get here, years, and we're still working on it, and that's the way it should be. We should continue to move forward and progress. Anyway, I just get so much on my mind sometimes, and sometimes I feel like I can express it, and then other times I feel like maybe I'm not literate enough to express my views. And sometimes I feel like when I do say what I feel like I'm being shut down in different areas, and that's hard. I think I've said in other videos, I try to be accepting of everybody, and I try to love everybody. WWJD. And something else that came to my mind today was how I think all of us heard when we were growing up, two wrongs don't make a right. And it's so terrible. It is terrible when you feel like you've been wronged by somebody and all you can think about is wronging them back, getting them back. That's not right. Oh yeah, sometimes it's hard. Excuse me. If you feel like you've been wronged, not to want to get somebody back for wronging you, but I've never wanted to do that. Oh, I felt it like anybody else, but I know that wasn't right. If they wronged me or I felt like they wronged me, maybe it's because they didn't know any better. They were so hurt by who I was. Well, I don't look to wrong anybody back or get somebody back for something that they caused me to feel. I don't look for that. I don't want that. If we can't get along, then we just don't have to be together all the time. If there's somebody that you just can't communicate with and accept each other's differences, then stay in your little area and try to keep everybody out, build a big wall, and seclude yourself from all of other people on this planet. And by the way, that's another thing. Everybody on this planet, in my way of thinking, this is my view, Grammie's view, we're all God's children, not just certain people in certain churches, certain people in certain countries. We're all God's children, and He made us, and we're all different. And yes, it's hard. It is hard. It's not an easy task living on this earth and trying to everyone to love each other and try to understand each other the best we can. No, it's not easy. But if we give it a good try, it's a lot better than all the hate and division. It's a lot better when everybody's trying and working together. Let's not alienate people who want to be united with the United States against dictatorship. Let's not allow things like that happened way back in Germany when Hitler wanted to rule the earth, and he did. He wanted to rule the earth. A lot of our men went and fought in World War II to fight that kind of communism is what it was. My grandparents, my mama's mom and daddy, John and Melvina Walco, came over here when they were teenagers, came through Ellis Island in New York to flee Czechoslovakia, communism, taken over there. And they came here to America to live free, to dream. And they had 9 children, and they raised them in America, and they were so happy to be here. My dad and his people are all from this area, this rural area. And of course they loved Graham County and this beautiful Smoky Mountains, as I do, as I do. But I don't want to build walls and try to keep everybody out, and anybody that thinks different than me and doesn't have the same religion or politics, I don't want them around me. I mean, it just makes no sense to me, all this. And talking to a camera and not having anybody here to bounce off my ideas, I guess it sounds kind of, I don't know how it sounds. But anytime I express my views, which isn't very much because I'm pretty outnumbered around here, like I said earlier, I just feel like I'm shut down. Like, no, I shouldn't think that way. No, I shouldn't feel that way. Why do you think that? It gets tiring. Just it's just easier just to be simple and play Susie Homemaker every day and come out here and sit around the fire pit and try to seclude myself from everybody. I mean, I'm 71 years old. I was told once, why don't you go back to work? I worked from the time I was 15 until I just wasn't able to work anymore. And it wasn't physically at the time. It was before I turned 65, just a couple of years before I turned 65, that I stopped actually working on a job. But it was the mental stress of the job. It was just being around people that I always felt like two wrongs make a right, you know. If they felt wrong, then they gonna wrong somebody back. And that happened a lot. And I didn't agree with that. Years of that, years of that. I just think we have to be a little more open minded. Like I say, I'm a Christian, and I just feel like, we just need to open our minds and be accepting of people that are different than us and not expect them to think just exactly like we do. I sure don't. I don't expect people to think exactly like I do. I try not to criticize them for the way they think. So don't treat me like I'm some kind of evil somebody. Put labels on me because I'm different. I don't get it. I'm gonna have to stoke the fire a little bit. Goes back to that. It's a free country, ain't it? And it is a free country. So I have a right to my views. I have a right to my opinions. They may be different than yours, but I have a right to them. And I'd like to think if I had to fight for your right to have your opinions, that I most definitely would. Because I believe in that. We all have a right. As long as you're not hurting other people. I don't believe in violence. Don't believe in hurting each other. Well, now I've got the smoke going. Maybe it'll die down in a minute. I'm going to have to move. Well, at least it's not coming at me right now. Not going to spend too much more time out here because it's not very pleasant fire pit talk, especially when I'm just talking to myself. Be nice to be sitting out here just enjoying two or three people having a few laughs and talking and reminiscing maybe about good things. Can't seem to get my mind off of all the all the turmoil that's going on. Let's just I just want everybody to know that this is in any democracy is a good thing where everybody tries to come together as different as we all think. But we all try to come together and work together so that we can all be free to live as we choose, as long as we don't break the laws, do evil things. That's why we have laws, to keep people from breaking the laws and hurting other people. And there's been a lot of that right here in our own country. I don't, I'm not against people owning guns. Democrats are not trying to take your guns away. That's a lie. That is just a lie. My family have owned guns. I myself personally, I'm just not a gun person. But I'm not trying to take anybody's guns away for their own protection, for their homes, for their families. But we do have to have regulations. There are people out here struggling in this world to deal with all the complexities that are going on. And a gun is an easy answer to just start blowing people away. We have to have regulations to keep those guns out of those people's hands. And try to get people that have those severe problems help. WWJD, not WWTD. Now that's just how strong I feel about it. The craziness has got to stop. We've got to start coming together. Maybe, hey, I'm a baby boomer. I was in the era of peace and love, and I still believe it. It's not silly. It's not naive. It's not childish. It's real. WWJD. And I also don't like this attitude of, oh well, world's gonna end anyway. It's coming to the end. No, I don't. This is my view. I don't believe that. Don't believe it. I believe when it happens, it's like I was taught. It'll be like a thief in the night. So nobody knows. And I think we've got a long way to go. But as long as we're taking breaths, then we have to keep on keeping on. We have to WWJD. We all make mistakes, but we're supposed to learn from our mistakes and do better. I'm not a saint. Don't claim to be. I'm just a human being, like everybody else all over this planet. We all make mistakes. But we need to learn from our mistakes, not just keep making them over and over and over again, and lying and cheating and stealing. Those are the biggies: lying, cheating, stealing, killing. Yes, we have to be strong. We have to be strong. And being strong means being open. Being open. And if you feel like you're living the good and right life, then be happy about it. Show people how happy you are about it, how content you are. Show them. I hope I've not offended anybody. These are just my feelings that I'm getting off my chest, opening up a little bit, sitting around this nice fire. Look, the smoke's going the other way, and I'm glad. But I am getting a little cool. And for whoever takes the time to listen to me release some of these burdens that I feel, I thank you. Leave me a thumbs up. And I hope you have a real good evening. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Take a little time to reflect. I do a lot of that. Like I say, I'm just a human being like everybody else. And I think we're all sinners. There are none of us walking this earth that are just complete saints and do nothing wrong. And they're so much better than everybody else and righteous. No, 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 no. This is a struggle. It's life. It's what life is. Love y'all. I'm going to end this video now. And maybe next time we sit around the campfire, I'll be a little bit more lighthearted and we can just have a little fun. Maybe I'll tell some funny stories because I've done some really funny things in my life and I'd like to share those with you too. So have a good evening and thanks for sitting around the fire pit with me. And I just want to say hello to my family, my daughters, my grandchildren. I love yous with all my heart. Bye.